Hello, Clune team, and welcome to another edition of the Clune Safety Spotlight. This week, we will be discussing emergency evacuations and how they could impact us not only on our projects but in the office as well. Let's start by understanding what an emergency evacuation is so that we can respond accordingly. A wide range of emergencies may require the office or job site to be evacuated. These emergencies include fires, explosions, floods, toxic material releases, civil disturbances, or workplace violence. Simply put, an emergency evacuation is the immediate escape of people from an imminent threat or hazard to lives or property. These situations are not drills or practices and should be treated with high priority and urgency. An emergency evacuation will always be initiated by an emergency alarm. Please note that not all emergency alarms are the same. Alarms can vary by location and should be identified so that you are aware of what to expect. If an emergency evacuation occurs while at work, it means everyone should exit the building or job site immediately and report to the designated emergency muster point locations. It is important to be familiar with these locations so all team members can be accounted for. The goal of an evacuation is to remove everyone from an area as quickly as possible to ensure the safety of all. This means you might not have time to grab any personal belongings before evacuating the premises. During an evacuation, we should always walk quickly and avoid running. This will help with congestion of walkways and reduce the chance of falls or injury. If someone is having difficulty exiting and you would like to assist, please remember to assess the situation to ensure it is safe to do so. Supervisors will be responsible for performing a head count once at the muster point locations. A system to account for everyone must be in place, and those responsible must be aware of these systems. This is critical to any emergency evacuation plan or process. If you have successfully evacuated but are unable to reach a muster point location, you should inform your supervisor as soon as possible. If you are unable to reach a muster point location, please ensure that you are at a safe distance from the building or job site. A supervisor will give an all clear signal when it is safe to re-enter the building or job site. No one should re-enter before the all clear is given. Now, let's talk a little about how we can stay prepared for emergencies on the project and in the office. One of the most important things to consider is the emergency exit routes and ensuring they always remain accessible at all times. This means keeping paths of travel free and clear from obstruction. Tripping hazards or objects in the way can easily impact a safe evacuation. We never want to allow our trade partners to store equipment or materials in front of emergency exits so that we can maintain at least 2 emergency exits at all times during the course of a project. These items should be monitored by the project teams continuously once the project begins. The evacuation plan of the project, otherwise known as the safety banner, is an excellent tool for us to use as the exit routes and assembly points are highlighted on the floor plan. During the project kickoff meeting and as crews are onboarded, it is important that they take the time to get familiar with these exit locations and routes. As the project evolves, it is also important that the project team continues to update the emergency exit routes should they be impacted at any point. This could possibly be a moving target as the project moves from phase to phase. All crews and employees on site should be aware of the emergency processes and protocols in place by not only Clune or the project but also the building or space we are performing work in, as they may differ. High-rise buildings often pose unique evacuation challenges to those working within, so it is critical that stairways are marked and accessible along with all emergency routes. These efforts will allow us all to be prepared so that, in the event of an emergency, the teams know how to respond and exit the space safely. For any questions about this Safety Spotlight video, please reach out to the Clune Safety Team at safetydepartment@clunegc.com.